would do a Monday show for you, a special edition of the Nifty Show. And we have the one and only Yat Siu from F1 DeltaTime, the CEO of Animoca Brands. And we've also got big news from the NFT world because, wow, it's only Monday and what a week it's been.
That's true.
Sir Lord Travis, shall we get nifty?
Let's get nifty, baby.
Looking into the future, what do we see? It's lined with digital collectibles, we call them NFTs. Games, trading cards, digital art, and those crypto kitties. Travis and Joel are the hosts, you'll know. Travis and Joel say this won't blow. They're locked and loaded, so ready, set, go! It's the Nifty, really kind of spiffy. The Nifty Show. They're locked and loaded.
The Nifty Show number, I don't even know, like
29?
29?
I think so.
29, 29, 29. That was my John Lennon little bit right there.
That was very good.
Sir Lord Travis, there's so much happening in the NFT space. The KOGs launch is still happening right now. We're going to talk about that. Bitcoin Origins sold out in a second today. We're going to talk about that. Blockchain Heroes has got the major race for the collector's edition starting Wednesday. We're going to talk about that. We're talking about all those things. But before we talk about those things, we're really pleased that Travis and I have an advisory position with Animoca Brands, and they do all kinds of cool stuff, including one of the brands is being launched on wax next week. It's the Bratz brand. They're doing their big pack sale coming up. It's Monday or Tuesday. I need to check and see. I think it's Tuesday. But there's also an extremely popular game that is NFT based that runs on the Ethereum blockchain called F1 DeltaTime. And Mr. Yat Siu, the CEO of Animoca Brands, is with us. We're going to race. What's happening, brother?
Great. Glad to be here. It's an exciting time just before Christmas. All these things happening right now. And yeah, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
It's a gift to us all, the gift of NFTs.
Indeed.
It is a crazy time in the world of NFTs right now. It seems like every day there's a new thing launching, or in some cases, multiple things launching at the same time as was evidenced today. It's been crazy these last couple of weeks in the NFT space.
Yeah. And I think what's amazing is that, with the volume of activities happening with NFTs, you'd think that there'd be some saturation or people might get tired or anything, but actually it's quite the opposite. More and more people are getting excited. I mean, just yesterday, we had a UNICEF auction, sort of a UNICEF sponsored auction for a sandbox piece of land that was sold. Ultimately, there was a 700,000 sand. So there was $30,000 plus in terms of value, right? And so on. So it's pretty interesting times.
Yeah, I'm not sure that a lot of people know just how many properties are in the Animoca wheelhouse. I'm going to pull up the website here, and perhaps you can kind of give us just an overview here.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So Animoca Brands is a game studio that was actually had different iterations, but effectively has been making games for well over 10 years. Mobile games, PC games, console games, all that kind of stuff. And about actually late 2017, early 2018, basically we found blockchain religion and said, you know what, this non-fungible stuff is really important, and let's go focus on that. And the main reason behind that is actually we ended up acquiring a studio in Vancouver that actually had been involved in building CryptoKitties, and in fact shared an office with what became Dapper Labs, but at the time was Axiom Zen. And the co-founder of CryptoKitties, Mick, also ended up becoming, also one of our
Yeah, can you turn up your mic just a little bit for us, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. Can you hear that? Is that better?
You're just a soft-spoken guy. Yes, it is.
Is that better? All right. I just moved the microphone within kissing distance. All right, fine.
Give it a big smooch.
All right. Yeah. So that was the background there, and then after that we decided that we're going to try to use our gaming expertise. And Animoca Brands is called has a brands title in it because we always had worked in the past with IP, but not specifically for blockchain related stuff, just, console games, mobile games, PC games, all the whole range, right? And today, actually, Animoca Brands has under license over 300 IPs.
Wow,
In
300.
various capacities.
Nice.
And actually just yesterday, we had announced a new license with Manchester City, the football club.
Uh-huh.
So
congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
It's the big soccer team, right? The big football team in the UK.
One of the top 5 most valuable teams in the world.
Right on. Is that Manchester United? There's Manchester United and Manchester City, so right? Is that right?
Yeah, they're both vying for the top spot, right? Anyway, we're glad we have one of the matches.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the background there where we signed up this IP, and when we saw what happened with CryptoKitties, we quickly became the distributors for our region, and then also ultimately an investor in them. We felt that we should be doing more in this space than just being passive, but basically help build the space. And one of the ways that we thought building the space up was to bring sort of blockchain adoption through gaming. Because, 2.5 years ago, blockchain was still, a relatively niche. And in some cases, some people really thought it was kind of weird stuff. And how do we bring that kind of adoption? We felt that connection between gamers and gaming, because of virtual assets, because of familiarity with virtual currency, would be a natural. Right? And so ultimately, we felt that, what is the way in which you can bring blockchain adoption and more value to gamers? Basically blockchain gaming, ta-da, right? And so using IP and brands was a tried and true tactic to bring adoption into a game. So can we use that same formula to bring adoption to blockchain? And so that's actually one of the main reasons why we started actually F1 DeltaTime. But within the blockchain realm, things that for those of you who may not know, we are the owners of Sandbox, which is the sandbox sort of game. We are investors in OpenSea. We're investors in Wax. We're investors in Axie Infinity, and actually 25 other blockchain related projects. And I think part of the reason we don't just launch our own titles, but also invest in others, is because we want to help build that ecosystem. And 2+ years ago, it was a lonely field in blockchain investing for games.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody was there, and so we ended up taking up that sort of mantle a little bit. But today there's a lot of cash sloshing around. So how we get involved?
There's no shortage of blockchain games today. They're starting to roll.
Sorry?
There's no shortage of blockchain games and blockchain properties and NFTs now. It's like we're starting. It's almost like it's that calm before the storm. Still a little bit. It's like mass adoption hasn't quite happened yet.
Oh no, we're super early.
People are getting really excited about it. They're telling their friends. And Joel and I, we think that 2021 is going to be the year of the NFT.
I think so too. I think what we have right now is, I think the NFT drive is going to be driven really by existing crypto users who already have a wallet, but who don't have an NFT. Because there's still less than 200,000 people who have an NFT.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy if you think about it, right? It's like, what? This is like, everyone's talking about it, or it seems to be, and of course, within our bubble of the NFT world, we just think, well, everyone should have one, right? But the reality is, as we discover, still lots of people coming in, getting introduced to a Rev token or getting introduced to Sand token, like, hey, what's an NFT? Oh, take a look at this. And so that path of adoption, I think, will be the short-term one. So I think, we have huge growth just from the existing crypto community. Never mind when we bring all the rest of the world into it.
They're coming, ready or not. It's going to be a big year, and we're moving from pioneer to early adopter, I think, in 2021. And
Right.
then once that happens and influencers start talking about this more, and we see musicians and other big brands coming on board, we'll move into mass adoption. I think 2022, maybe 23 is when we'll start really trending up that curve.
Right.
And we're doing all we can, and I know you're doing all you can to help accelerate that. And speaking of accelerating, F1 DeltaTime, your
Yes.
game, the Grand Prix race is now out. You saw I made a video.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes.
And because I wanted to jump in and experience what is this game like. So why don't you tell?
And you got the hang of it pretty quick, it looked like, too, Joel. You're like zooming around and you're like, oh, I got it now. And then you're like shaving seconds off each time going around the lap.
Yeah. Yeah, starting to get the hang of it. So maybe tell us a little bit about this. It's F1DeltaTime.com. What is the game?
Yeah, so F1 DeltaTime is the official and exclusive license holder for blockchain games and NFTs with Formula One. Formula One is perhaps one of the largest sports in the world, certainly the number one motorsport. And it's a little bit of background. Why do we want to work with F1 on this one? Because outside of the fact that it's sort of fast and cool, is the fact that the audience that watches and plays F1 is typically an audience that is a little older, and that also understands value, right? And I think that's really important, because when you're trying to sort of combine sort of blockchain and related concepts into a game, it's easier to do that if you integrate it with concepts of value than with not, right? Like if you have a game where people don't sort of just for fun, but they're not doing it because they want to generate value, then it's hard. But F1 players understand that quite well, because it's a sport that is quite expensive. The cars are expensive. The experience is expensive, right? So that's kind of one of the reasons we work with them. They have 1.9 billion viewers worldwide and over 500 million fans. So that's sort of part of the other part, which shows why there's so much potential we think in this. Now, what is F1 DeltaTime itself? So F1 DeltaTime is part of the Rev ecosystem, which is the token that combines all of our motorsports activities. And there you can buy cars and parts, official ones as well, right? With the official sort of Ferrari or Mercedes cars and drivers, and you can race them basically in F1 DeltaTime in a variety of gameplays. One of them is the Elite Time Trial, which is more like a strategy type game environment where you're combining stats with the parts of the car. And the other one is the Grand Prix that you had shared a video with, which is where you're racing the car and using the stats of the parts that you've bought and own to try to win the prizes. The prizes can be quite generous. We've had prizes upwards in value, between $30,000, $40,000 over these time trials. So it's quite strong. We have several racing teams that have already formed. Some of them are sort of quite well-known, I guess, people in the space. Like the Superfast team from Tony G, who's politician and poker player, right? And not too many not too many people can sort of give that label to themselves. But we also have some prominent NFT collectors playing in that space as well, like Meta Coven, who was actually the one who bought the 111 car at the time for over 111,000 US, and also the very first
$111,000 for one.
That was in 2019.
Oh wow!
Right? That was in 2019, and in 2020, he also bought. He auctioned successfully the Monaco track, the first one, for over 222,000 US. So basically, you have it's becoming very much sort of just like the real F1, a sport where sort of people are spending a lot of money, but they can also make money, right? Which is the reason why I guess it's worth it. The cars themselves have also risen in value since launch. And that's also the way that we sort of manage the scarcity around that, which is based on the community at the time, whatever supply they can buy, and then the rest gets burnt. That creates a community pool. And I think, as you show that video, I think, I guess it's, with Zoom, it's lagging a little bit, but you can just go on the website, f1deltatime.com and try
it. I'm actually doing this right now. This is not the play. I'm in the game here and I'm racing now. The controls, it's just your up arrow, your down arrow, and your space bar, right?
Yeah. So, and boost. Yeah, the boost. And so the reason we designed it for this, and I'll get to the sort of how we work on the Rev ecosystem, but the reason we designed it this way is, how do you make a game that requires both tactical skill, right, and sort of being able to sort of buy and manage parts, because you can't just buy a car and everyone's the same. Every part is different, right? And that itself also promotes the sort of a need to also sort of trade parts or swap parts or whatever into a component, right? A car is not just based out of the car and the driver. You also need to have the engine, you need to have the right wheels, you need to have the right sort of wings, all these things that you need to implement into the car. And then as you race them, you can control essentially the thrust or the brake. And then each of the tracks, based on the real tracks of F1, have also different angles and different turns. And so you have to manage that, right? And I think as you do that, that actually becomes a gameplay that is, it's one of those sort of big secrets on how to make a successful game is, can you make the gameplay such that anyone can play it, but still is challenging to succeed, right? Right. I mean, it's like what was addictive about Angry Birds? It wasn't a very complicated game. It didn't have 50 buttons, right? It just had, zoom, right, and go, right? Or Candy Crush, right? I just sort of combine these things. It's actually combine the candies together. It's not that difficult as a gameplay, but as you get deeper into it, it's actually very difficult to master, right? And I think that is one of the key elements of making a game that is both accessible, but challenging to win. And that's kind of what we try to achieve with F1 DeltaTime.
Yeah, this is beautiful. You're doing a great job there, Sir Lord, Mr. Joe.
I'm getting the hang of it here. I'm learning when to hit my brakes. And it kind of gives you these clues here, right? It shows you the arrows like slow down, speed up, slow down, speed up, or you're gonna come to a halt, and that's not good.
Yeah, can you zoom in your perspective, like from behind the driver's window, and like just different perspectives, or is this the main?
So what will happen? What will happen in the future is you can do replays, and then you can, because the game is done entirely in 3D. With the replays, you'll be able to do all. You can then look at all the angles and so on. But during gameplay, it's difficult because if you can, like if you're driving the way you're driving right now, and then you're basically looking at the rear window or in front view, it's actually, that doesn't give you better.
It's not optimal because you're going to run into a building and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah. So
what does this mean now? I qualified. What do I get to do because I qualified?
So right now, there's the final Grand Prix for F1 DeltaTime is a multiplayer race, which is essentially the actual Grand Prix where you're actually racing around the track, just like in F1, but against other players in real time. And so in order to qualify to enter the races, you need to first have the qualifying score to do that. Now, since we just launched it, we're providing some prizes just to sort of practice on it, which is what's happening right now. So you're basically practicing on the track and you've got a leaderboard and all that kind of stuff there. But when the full game launches, which is in Q1 next year, that's the goal anyway, then you will be racing real time against others. And
look at that. I came in 5th here on tier D for, was it a time frame?
That's right. Yeah. So in tier D, which is the lowest tier, and it basically means that your engine parts have to have a score of 6,000 or less. You score there. Tier A is where you get all the sort of high-end legendary or apex cars, typically speaking. And
so it's not a statement on how bad I am. It's really about my gear.
That's correct, right? I mean, it's kind of like when you have Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, right? You have different engine power and you have different qualifications. But as time goes on, whether you earn your way there or whether you sort of purchase parts or build a team, you can then move into the higher tiers where the prizes become also bigger.
Well, let's just say I got a killer transmission, okay?
Yes, yeah, indeed. Epic. That's an epic transmission, and it's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, so that's why you can slow down so good and get around those corners nicely. Very nice. So you talked about being able to like lease or borrow cars from somebody else, because I don't have a car. I don't have any cars. I don't have any tires. I don't have anything.
Yes.
And so, but
you have a tricycle though, Trav. You can just like.
I got a unicycle. I got one of those motorized unicycle things, but it has no seat, so that's awkward. So where can I lease one? And people who maybe don't have one, because I want to play the game, but I don't have a car and I don't have $111,000 to buy a car.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, if you want to race in Tier D, you can do so. You can probably buy a set. And so what's kind of cool is that you can buy a set for maybe an ETH or less than an ETH or equivalent in rev. And what's cool is that, we're not the ones who are making this, because all the parts are broadly speaking owned by the community. They build it themselves, right? They buy, they trade, and then they create these starter kits and have been selling them. So if you go on OpenSea and you take a look at, like just the general OpenSea, I sort of go to, I guess if you go to the broad browsing, you can see in F1 DeltaTime, you'll see people, on the bundles, people are selling collectible bundles. So I think if you go down
12,000 items up here for sale right now.
Yeah, so different items, right? But if you take a look, if you go to all items there, you'll further up, you can go and do a bundle.
Where do I do that?
You go by sort. I think it's a sort by. Go first or
Bundles.
bundle.
Here we go.
There we go.
Let's find the cheapest one on here after it loads up. Sir Lord Travis.
And then if you go like lowest price, right? Those would typically be common, right? Which is a tier D. And then you can see people combining them. So these are just sort of maybe glove parts, but later on when you get ones, you can actually sort it out by having at least a car and a driver and a wheel, right? These are the ones that.
So you're getting all the way down to like, all right, and you need a zipper on your pants. You got to buy that. And you got to get this. You got to get the thing at the end of your shoelaces. You got to get that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And these are most of these are priced in either rev. It's the one which has a little sort of red R there, right? Like 10,000 rev, or you have the ones that are sort of based on ETH. So basically, here, for instance, they have this one asking 10,000 rev for basic Grand Prix racing kit with car. When you open that, you see it has, this is highly tuned. So this is designed by a player who's been obviously racing it and then really got the stats up to a certain point as a basic entry stat, and then selling it then for this price. So he's obviously bought it for, you can see how much he purchased it for, which is actually a lot less than what he's selling it for, right? Each of these parts, and then combining them together and then selling them to players. And that's actually been a lot of the trading. As new players come in, they have to go onto the marketplace and purchase it themselves. Now, to your question on the leasing product, that's not launched yet. We have the staking product. What you do is if you own these NFTs, like cars, you can stake them. Yeah. And when you go and stake these cars, actually what you're doing is you're putting them back into the F1 DeltaTime rental pool. And so in the future, you would then be able to rent these cars. You will still, however, need some of the other parts, right? We're not making that available for rental, but it's a lot less expensive than the car. So you could buy all the various parts and own those, but then you can actually stake them. The next staking period is not launched. So the first staking period launched, and we did the payout. And the next one will happen very soon, perhaps even end of the year, where you can then stake your cars. But it also
had a sale of additional crates for different car parts, right?
That was earlier. So that was for the 2020 season. So 2019 was done. So we sold 2020 keys, which is basically like a crate sale. That was quite phenomenal because we had set up a stretch target of 40 million rev, which was maybe 700,000 or 800,000 US dollars as a deposit, in which we would then unlock more keys to sell and to earn, right? And I think one important thing is if you own 2019 parts, you were racing in a different race than 2020, right? And if you're racing in 2019, you can still win prize money, but you can also win 2020 keys. And that's our way of saying, well, if you own old sort of the original parts that you bought, it's almost like a Genesis part, right? So as you're continuing to race on that, you can then generate out of a fixed pool 2020 keys that you can only earn racing in 2019.
That's nice.
Right, so that's just a way to sort of
keep the people moving along the game. Yeah, that's nice.
That's right. However, most of the people who are in 2019 actually also bought 2020 because of the new races that are taking place. And of course we had a lot of new users join as well. And so what was amazing there was we had the stretch target of 40 million rev. We hit like over 70 million rev as a stretch target, so blew that way over. And the legendary keys were sold out in 3, maybe 5 minutes.
Wow.
It was crazy. And every single part was sold out within 3 or 4 hours, I think. Even the common parts, everything. So we basically generated like $1.4 million, much more than we had expected, which is, again, very grateful for our community. But also a lot of people, over 30 odd million rev was unspent, basically going, I didn't have a chance to buy anything or what I wanted. So it was I guess a bit of a classic problem because, we had, I guess, underestimated the demand, which may not necessarily be a bad thing, but in comparison to, 6-7 months ago when we had launched our 2019 crate sale, we had sold a third of our crates and then we had burned the rest, right? As we said we would. So and we generated, like maybe I think $360,000 worth of sales, which was pretty respectable in early 2020.
That's not a
But
bad
nothing
day.
compared to what's going on. Yeah.
That's not a bad day at all.
Yeah. So yeah, and the community has grown, the demand has grown. So that's all been pretty positive. Yeah.
So
I'm
when
curious
will I
about
be
the
able to
tracks.
race? I'm sorry, go ahead, Trev.
Well, I'm just curious about the tracks because it looks like, you got one there in Monaco, and then
Yes.
there's different cities around the world that have these racetracks.
Right.
How do you determine when those new racetracks sort of pop up?
So the very first racetrack that we sold, which is the Monaco 1A, sold for basically the equivalent of 222 or 223,000 US dollars.
So
That
now
was a pretty
somebody
epic offer.
owns that track.
Yes, so Metacoven actually owns it for its Metapurse. And one of the reasons you might want to own the track is because going forward, every race which you pay entry fee to play, you get essentially a share in that, right? So it's so it's almost like you're sort of a part owner of elements of the game. There's some work involved as well, but the thing is that is now your entitlement, as it were, right?
And that racetrack will be around in 2021 and 2022
So
and
that's right.
2023.
So the difference about the racetracks is that unlike the cars, which can be only raced in the season in which they're running, but you can still run 2019 races in 2021, that's okay. But they can only be raced in sort of within the universe of itself. The tracks are universal. So there won't be a 2019 Monaco or 2020 Monaco. There is only one Monaco.
They're the same. It's the same city. It's the same track.
Exactly.
It exists.
And so you can use the same track across all the races, which means that you will generate a reward for all the players playing in every season. So even if the 2021 season comes around, there won't be another track. That's the one.
All right.
So the person who owns it would then generate a yield of that, right? And then the other thing, of course, there is that we're currently auctioning a legendary and an epic piece of that track as well. So the tracks are also divided in sort of different sort of pieces.
Where do I see that on here?
It's not listed there because we just launched it on OpenSea. If you go to OpenSea.com, you'll see what's happening there. Let's go to, it wouldn't be on trading history because it's not what people have bought, but if you look at the, because it's currently on auction. This is if it's, let's see.
Okay, so on auction, here we go.
Let's see what happens here. Yeah, there you go. So the epic and the legendary, right? So legendary is a tier higher. So currently, we just started it last night. So currently, the bids for the epic is around at $600, which isn't bad, right? And then the legendary is it looks like it's about twice that at the moment.
I'm gonna get that track. I'm gonna go to Monaco and say, "This is my track, bitches."
That's right, exactly, right. And so I think what you'll see here with people bidding for these tracks is, that ownership piece and the uniqueness. But the sort of incredible price that Metacoven paid for the very first one, I think that had also a collector's aspect to it, right? That was more of a, I think that was a big statement because he owned the very first Apex car and he wants to own the very first Apex track. So I wouldn't necessarily say that means that every track is necessarily priced at that level. But you can buy Epic and Legendary, which is a little bit more sort of down to earth pricing, perhaps, hopefully, right? And so that people can have a chance to have the part. But there's over 300 race parts for each of them. So there's an opportunity. There's also rare and common parts you can buy later on as well. So everyone can have a sort of part ownership, let's say, in the F1 DeltaTime sort of race element. And that's
and it
important.
Looks pretty accurate. I've been to Monaco. I literally, you can see that because we were on the blockchain cruise back, I think in 2018. You pull right up there. I can see where the cruise ship pulled up and I can see that bay and you walk around the whole thing. I don't know that I would feel all that comfortable if there was a race going on that while I'm walking around because damn, those things go fast, and that's just that has to be terrifying if you're like a pedestrian or like, wait a second, what's going on?
Yeah, but that's the big event, right? I mean, during the season, right?
Yeah.
You know, which is basically on the weekend, they cordon everything off, and that becomes a race element, right? And becomes a big community event as well, not just on broadcast television, but within the city of Monaco, or whether it's in Shanghai, or whether it's in Bahrain, right? It becomes like the thing. The whole city is engulfed in that experience.
I just want to know, does Lando Norris know that he's missing half of his body? That's
well,
poor Subway.
Yes. Yeah, that's part of the visual representation.
You got to buy his arms. You got to buy his legs too.
That's a different part.
Coming soon.
It's like a mix between Lando Calrissian and Chuck Norris. This guy. He doesn't even need legs.
Yeah.
Well, this is a lot.
You might want to buy his hands for him.
This is great fun. How can people go ahead and get involved now and race like I just did there and qualify?
Yeah. So the very first thing I would say is, outside of registering on F1 DeltaTime, is join our Discord community or Telegram community. We have a very awesome community that is prepared to help you on board. Because unlike maybe a classic game, the F1 DeltaTime was born out of crypto first, right? Meaning it's expected that you have some knowledge with blockchain, which of course, presumably everyone in this audience has anyway. But what they do then is they're very, very friendly in terms of building stuff for you as well. If you say, hey, I want to get started, this is my budget, they'll come and say, you know what, let me see what I can do. And they'll combine parts and then offer them for you for sale. So that's kind of cool. So people already have set up their shops for that. And if you know what you want, you can just individually buy. But if you for first-time player, they'll onboard you for a small fee, which is I think is very reasonable.
Where's the place on the website where you go, all right, I have my tires and I have my axle and I have my engine and I have my car body. Where do you put it together?
So you go to the workshop. So if you go up and you see there's a workshop option. Yep.
So I got workshop 2 cars here. I got the Clover car and I got a Spark car. I think I bought a crate last year, right? Because isn't this
early this year? Yeah.
2019 season.
It's 2019 season, but we sold it in early 2020. But yes.
Yeah. So I bought a crate and it had pieces, parts in it.
That's right. So for instance, if you take one of these parts and you were to, let's say like the turbocharger or whatever, so if the car turbocharger, just you see that, yeah, and you select that, you can see that it has these stats there in terms of the bad crypto car. You'll see that it's got like top speed and acceleration and grip, and the green part says how much more it improves. Now, but the thing is, when you enter these races, you have to be at a certain stat. So just because you are have the fastest car doesn't mean you qualify or are able to use it there, because you may not be within the range. So you need to basically get that right combination. And the weather conditions also matter. For instance, if it's very wet or if it's raining, you need tires that are customized for wet weather. Otherwise, you won't have much control and you'll lose speed also in the time trial.
This car has no brakes.
Yes.
I think it might actually be a train. You might be driving the train.
Right.
I guess every car has elementary brakes, right? But if, for instance, if you go to the Elite time trial, you'll see, for instance,
right here?
Let's go to Elite, right? So Elite is where you have the bigger prizes, and you can only enter them if you stake your rev. So you don't pay for it, but you stake your rev. And for the tier A, then you put in 100,000 rev. But for instance, if you go down to, these are the prizes you can see. But if you go down, you'll see the scoring. And every day there's a new race. And you have 24 hours to participate in a race. So for instance, if you go, let's go to tier D as an example.
Where am I going?
So if you scroll up a bit, you'll see it. Tier D or tier C, right? You'll see that there are more people participating there. If you look at you'll see that for this week. And so right now, since the race, the new season of the race, the new day race just started, you'll have a few people participating. Eventually this will fill up. And then at the end of the day, you'll have the top score. And then you get to the standings. Now, here's the thing. even if you participate, you'll see here yield rewards. Everyone who participates gets at minimum a yield based on the rev they staked. So this is a little bit like our sort of, I guess, yield farming approach, except that you have to work for it too, as in you have to at least race, right? And I think this is an important element here, which has two implications. The first implication on work is, you have to sort of invest in it to get a reward, which I think is reasonable. But the second one, I think, is also that there's an interesting thing, and sort of from a security standpoint as well, is that if you provide a product that is just purely interest-based, actually in some jurisdictions, that is considered a security product. But because NFTs as a space is very, very small, most people aren't paying attention. But as we have seen in the past, laws will come and run after you eventually, especially as they get bigger. So the element of work is very important. It's like, buying real estate in the real world. You have to maintain it, you have to work it, you have to do something in order to generate a yield. And that therefore is not considered in the same category as a financial product. But if it's passive income, it is. So, for us, this is really important that we make sure that all of our products follow the laws. We are a public company. We're not an anonymous crypto project, right? So we have some pretty high-profile advisors and directors. So I think in all of this, when we design our games and we design our elements around value, and in this case, of course, money, it's very important that we get all the legal advice and all the work around to make sure that we check all the boxes. So this is an example of why we don't just do simply sort of straight yield as many other projects do, right. Partially because it fits, but also because it's necessary.
We are not financial advisors, nor are we racing advisors, but we do advise you to go to F1DeltaTime.com and check this out. Yeah, you've built something cool here. I think it's just at the beginning, and I've no doubt that you're going to attract thousands and thousands more people to this game.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on today, man. We appreciate it. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Here's just one of the properties. Got 300 other brands.
I know.
Doing cool stuff on. I mean, you guys are killing it over there. Love it, Yat. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Well, Sir Lord Travis, let's talk about a couple of the other things going on in the NFT space, because what a week this has been, and it's only Monday.
Yeah, it's like this week right here. See, because there was crazy stuff going on during the weekend. Those drops going on over the weekend. Like this whole weekend has been like since, what was it, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it was been Bitcoin Origins. And so that thing just went off like a hot potato. Have you ever seen a launch go like that?
That was crazy. So I'm going to pull it up here. I'm sure a lot of you have participated in the Bitcoin Origins memory too, of this launch here. And they had 1 megabyte blocks. There was 1,042 of them available, and you could buy 5 at a time. And how long did those take to go?
They were all gone immediately.
Yeah, because I mean, it was like boom, boom, the numbers just went, and they were gone.
I think they said less than maybe 5 seconds.
Amazing. And then the 2 megabyte blocks, there was only 242 of them, and they limited it so you can only buy one, which is all
you only buy one at a time, and that took about 15 seconds.
That's all anybody got was one. And then today they had 42 4 megabyte blocks available. 1 second, boom, gone.
Yeah, my wallet would not pop open to get one, and I know somebody got one, the number 10 block. So they bought it for 7,000 some odd wax, which is about $300, and sold it on the secondary market for over $10,000.
That's amazing. I'm pretty pleased. I did manage to nab a 4 meg block, and I'm hodling it.
You have a 4 megabyte block from the first one that you've not opened.
I do. I have a 4 meg. There's only of the 20. There was only 21 in the first memory, so they're twice as rare. And 16 of the 21 have been opened. Mine is one of the 5 that has not. It's pristine, and it's nice little block QB thing there, and it's staying there. I'm not opening it. But this market has just taken off, and Bitcoin Origins has really caught on.
Yeah. It really went off, and congrats to those guys. Couldn't happen to nicer people. We love Jeremy and the whole team over there doing all the things. Good folks.
Yeah, if it happened to us, it would have happened to less nice people.
Yeah, we're not that nice.
You're not.
We're somewhat nice. We like to think we're nice.
I am, but you're so you bring the average down.
You know, I am the mean. I bring the mean down.
And of course, today we also saw the launch of Hodl God this morning, which I think is underappreciated. Well, it actually happened at noon, right? Noonish.
It happened at the same time that didn't it happen at the same time that Bitcoin Origins was going on. I think it kind of clogged. I think the cloud wallet was a little clogged there for a while. It kind of like my toilet was after Thanksgiving.
There was a little, I'm just going to pass right by that. There was a little thunder stolen, but you know what Hodl God's doing? We had them on the Nifty Show on Friday, and this gameplay looks really amazing. This is actual gameplay. I'm just going to forward in so you can kind of see it playing.
Isn't it one of the first games that used like Real Engine or something?
Yeah, Unreal Engine. You know, the packs are basically what you get in them aren't cards, they're shards of gear. You need 4 pieces of gear of the same kind that you'll be able to use in the game when you put them together. So when you buy the starter pack, you get 1 piece of gear plus you get credits in game, and there's a chance that you get something super rare called the Enigma, which I don't even know what that is. It's an enigma to me. And if you buy the Immortal pack for $50 pretty much, you get 125 credits, 3 random shards, which are gear pieces, and a 3% chance of Enigma.
What's an Enigma?
I don't know. That's
a mystery. Enigma. Such a mystery.
It's a mystery.
I opened up some. I noticed that I was getting really close to having the Liquid Titan set, and so I bought a piece online in the secondary market, and now I have a complete Liquid Titan armor set to play the game sometime whenever that's ready. And I like it because it's the blue one, so it looks really cool. Plus, it has Titan in the name, which we have Titan in our Titan packs. And so
that is also true. Yeah. So hodlgod.com, you guys check it out while their sale is on. And of course, the last big story for the day is KOGs. Wow. I mean, they absolutely blew it away. There was 2 different ways you could buy 2 different kinds of packs. The one on Uniswap totally failed for me. I could not get in. Some whale went in and bought like 90 of them and drove the price up. And so by the time my Ethereum transaction tried to go through, it was like, nope, neglected, rejected.
See, that was a problem right then, is that those things, it's like with the Uniswap, it's like, all right, I got my price in at this point, here it is. It should, but the thing is like the person who holds the liquidity, I guess they get to determine which orders that they're taking. I don't even know if it's automatic, but whenever I first went in, I was going to take my 30,000 RFox and get like 2.7 of those tokens. Well, that one failed. And so then it was like, all right, now I'm going to get 2 for 30,000 of these KFox tokens or RFox tokens. Now I'm going to buy 2.5 of these token coins. Nope. That thing hung up for like 25 minutes. And by the time that it was done, it was like my 30,000 could buy like 1.3 of those tokens. So the price just went crazy on those.
Yeah, no token for you.
Yeah.
no token.
I might be token up a little later.
But we did get packs. And this is interesting right here. So I think my DoorDash just arrived. So I'm going to let you talk about this for a moment, and I'm going to grab my food.
Yeah. So the packs the packs went on sale, and really look at the first edition. Total packs have been opened up. 81% of the first edition packs have been opened. And actually, what's interesting is that I think that the Blockchain Heroes is like at about almost 87%. But look at their second edition. Packs open 40% already. But look at the amount of the starter packs. There's almost 10,000 of those. So there's about 3,000 more of those than there were on the first edition. But look at the booster packs. There's about 4,000 less than there were on that first edition. So actually, it seems to me that when it's all said and done, the booster packs might be the most rare.
Well, but here's what you're not taking into account is the boxes that people are going to buy with the tokens, right? Every booster box has 30 booster packs. Every starter box has 30 starter packs, and I'm sure they've sold several hundred of those. So
Right.
there's actually thousands more packs that are going to be in supply. But at the same time, they had in the first set something like 3,000 number one mints variations. There's 11 or 12,000 in this set. So there's a lot more to collect.
That is true. A whole
you
lot
got
more to
15
collect.
minutes.
And actually, so, you know, you finally convinced me to start using the Anchor wallet instead of using the cloud wallet on these launches. And whenever I did my first 20 packs, I got the mint, the number 3 mint, all the way up to the number 22 mint. So my 20 packs that I bought were like super low mints. And then I was like, well, damn, I can't open up these. But I opened up one pack, and so there was a bunch of number 1 mints in there. And I think when those sales go on, it might be a good idea to use a secondary wallet instead of relying on the cloud wallet sometimes, because that thing seems to hang up, especially if there's multiple sales going on at the same time.
Yeah, it's still a little buggy. So you got 15 minutes left as of now to grab KOGs, and then that's it. They close off the sale, and there's no more packs that are available for retail. Coming up this week, is it when is this at? When does this happen? Let's see. Shop Bratz Collectibles with a Z.io, December 22nd. So these are tomorrow. These go on sale tomorrow. If you've got girls, teenagers, or just you want the nostalgia from this, we interviewed these folks a couple weeks ago. So these are going to go on sale.
And we just interviewed Yat Siu, who is the CEO of the company that's working with these guys to release these brats. So this is an Animoca project.
Yep. So that's tomorrow at, let's see if there's a time on it here.
Noonish Eastern.
In 15 hours from now. Somebody do the math and tell me when that would be.
So 12 hours from now would be 7:45 Central, plus another 3 hours. So that's going to be like at 11 a.m., which is it's going to be 12 o'clock Central or 12 o'clock Eastern.
Noon Eastern, yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. So there's that. And finally, phase 2 of the Blockchain Heroes is still on, gang, and you've got until just about 48 hours from now, our sale of buy 5 packs, get 1 free will end. And remember, this phase 2 is all about buying them so you can gift them using gifthero.cards. We want to onboard. We got all these cool NFTs, and we're, thousands of us are buying, selling, trading. Let's bring thousands more in using the gifting tool. And I'm going to pull it up here so you guys can see it. Gifthero.cards. Let's see, it wants me to log in. I will do that because I'm compliant when it comes to logging in. And you just go here, and then you can go ahead and pull down from the menu. What do you want to give? I want to give a phase 1 Titan pack. You type the email in right here, put your name, write whatever custom message you want, click send, and they're going to get an email. So if you buy 5 Titans between now and midnight on the 23rd, you're going to get a free Titan pack dropped to you on the 24th. Buy 5 heroes, get a hero pack drop. Buy 5 galleries, you'll get a gallery crate dropped. You will get it in your wallet. And you can rinse and repeat that as often as you want. So buy 10 crates, you'll get 2 freebies. And as it is, the prices are lower on these than they were for phase 1. So simply click buy packs. It'll take you directly to the page on, and you can see here, these are the phase 2 packs on sale. We sold 7,500 packs in phase 1. And these also contain artifacts that you cannot get in phase 1 or phase 3 packs.
That is true. And those artifacts come in handy because if you collect all 9 of them, then you can go through this process to maybe become a hero yourself.
And the upgrade mechanism is now officially working. This is a persistent mechanism. So when you go to upgrade cards, you could take 5 of any one card of any rarity. So I've got 5 uncommon hero and villains here, put them into the upgrade, kiss those cards goodbye. Bye-bye cards. It's been nice knowing you. And what am I going to get back?
Shark face. You're going to get a shark face rare.
There go my 5 cards. They're being transmutified.
I just felt shark face. Ooh, ha, ha.
And it's going to bring a rare Calcularicus.
I was incorrect.
So you can
Incorrecticus.
upgrade any rarity to the next rarity all the way up to mythic. 5 legendaries automatically become a mythic. And then Wednesday, the race begins. Wednesday at noon Eastern time, the race to the CEs. What you're going to want to do is complete your Series 2 collections. If you have all 20 heroes, you will be able to race to mint the first common collector's edition card. 20 villains, same thing. Uncommons, rares, epics, and legendaries all have their own unique collector's edition hero and villain. Complete collections will race to burn. They will be minted in the order that you burn them. So now is the time to complete your collections and be ready to join us on the Hero Tools page Wednesday at noon Eastern.
Yeah. And just think about this. You know, Yat Siu just said there's only about, what, 100, 200,000, 20,000 people? How many people have doing NFTs right now?
Not enough.
Not enough. So tell your friends about it, right? Because these cards are going to remain rare because there's not that many of them. And then a lot of these are going to get burned to create these really cool CEs. These collector's edition cards, I think, are the creme de la creme when it comes to NFTs so far. These things are absolutely beautiful. So it's a no-brainer to take 20 commons, a complete set of those, and turn it in on heroes or villains. And then moving on up, depends on how big the cojones are. If you want to, you know, take a whole set of legendaries, I'm thinking about it. Just because I know those cards are so freaking cool.
There's so it's the same card will result for each set of burns. So 20 commons. By the way, this is just a video, but the animated ones, the gifts, they loop infinitely. So common hero, Sentinel. Common villain is Whisper. Look at that. That's so pretty.
Shh, gotta talk quietly when it's a whisper. She's whispering.
The uncommon hero, Mina Cherie.
That one is beautiful.
See, the uncommon starts bringing some color into it. Then you've got your uncommon villain, the Encrypt Keeper. Who's going to get the number ones? The rare hero is Admiral Banks.
That one's very sexy too.
Yeah. The rare villain, Lady Iris. You thought Carol Baskin was that bitch. No, Lady Iris is that bitch. Then you get your
Tiger Blood.
Epic Grand Auditor.
Look at that one. I could look at that one all day. That one is mesmerizing.
Really amazing work they did. And then Nathan Nyes is your villain. Epic.
That's so nice.
Edition.
I like how his coat changes colors.
Finally, if you will burn a whole set of legendary heroes, you will get one of these. It's guaranteed that you'll get one. Now, the mint number depends upon who beats you to it. So there's the legendary hero, and here is the legendary villain. These will also contain the MP4 files attached to them that are the high res versions of these.
So you can have them on your digital screen right there and have it look all badass. Can't wait to have NFTs on a display. It's going to be so awesome.
It's going to be amazing. So that's it. There you go. I think that's going to wrap it up, Sir Lord Travis.
Yeah. Maybe one thing, go to our YouTube channel and check out Bitcoin Bro opening up a pack of blockchain heroes. If you haven't seen it, I don't know that you've ever seen anybody as happy as Bitcoin Bro was in that moment. George Pullen, friend of mine, he goes, man, I just wish I could be that happy about anything.
In fact, you know what? Why don't we end with that video, and then when it's done, the show will be over. Let me see if I can find it for you here. Where is it?
It's just, to me, it's one of the most fun things, because it's like seeing someone have so much delight over something cool that we created was just it's a delight to us, and everyone who I've shown this to so far has a huge ass smile on their face too, because it's just hilarious.
So we're going to end with this huge ass smile on your faces, and until next time, be nifty.
I will click and tell you who boss. I love this fucking intro video, this unpacking experience. It's bougie, baby. This is bougie. That's a high-end experience right there. I did it. I did a thing. Hey, I did a thing. I did it. Woo! I did a thing. I did a thing, Mom. Somebody call my mom. Tell her I did a thing. Yeah, that's right. I'm just gonna let that chill right there for a second. This is why I did it. I did it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy another one. I'm gonna buy one and I'm gonna open it. I'm on a roll. Why would I? You know what I mean? Like, I got anywhere else to fucking go. Where do I gotta be? It's pandemic lockdown season and shit. I bought another crate, bro. And then I did it. I did a thing. I did the thing nobody thought I was gonna do, but I did the thing. Haters gonna say it's photoshopped. Bro, a mythic.